What if everything we know about learning is about to be overturned? Right now in classrooms across the world, a revolution is silently unfolding that's making every previous educational technology look like child's play. The numbers are staggering. 92% of college students now use AI in their coursework, up from just 66% last year. So what happens when the tools we create can think, reason, and learn better than we can? What does it mean to be educated in a world where knowledge is instantly accessible but wisdom remains elusive? The most important question, will AI finally deliver on the promise of personalized learning or simply amplify the inequalities already baked into our system? Let's dive into this today. Welcome to Startup Hack. I'm Spencer, and here at Startup Hack, we train software developers in our licensed coding boot camps and build custom software solutions for companies. With over a decade of executive leadership as a fractional CTO and 25 years in software development, I've mastered transforming tech teams and products. All right, folks, we're living through the most profound transformation in education since the printing press. AI isn't just another tool in the classroom. It's fundamentally changing how we think about knowledge, skill development, and the real purpose of education itself. And today I'm going to break down exactly what this means for students, teachers, and the future of learning. See, it's not just affecting the students. This is affecting the teachers and the universities as well. Fresh data from Higher Education Policy Institution shows that nearly every college student, 92%, is now using AI for their coursework, a massive jump from 66% just 1 year ago. Now, even more striking, 88% of students using AI specifically for assessments, which means the technology is directly influencing how students are evaluated and graded. Universities are scrambling to try to adapt, with 88% of institutions implementing AI policies, but only 36% of students report receiving actual training on how to use these tools effectively. Now, the gap between policy and practice is creating the Wild West situation where students are teaching themselves AI skills that will fundamentally shape their future career opportunities. So we're witnessing the first generation that will graduate having used AI throughout their entire educational experience, fundamentally changing their relationship with knowledge acquisition. I tease my kids all the time and I tell them, hey, look, I graduated from college before there was Google. That's a part of a lie. Actually, Google came out while I was going to school, but I actually remember starting my computer science before Google. So I guess on points there, right? But these students aren't just using Google. They're using a whole new set of tools. These AI tools are different, and they'll be developing entirely different cognitive processes, learning strategies than any previous generation. Now, every educational technology throughout history has promised to revolutionize learning, from the chalkboard that made education scalable to film strips that brought visualization into classrooms. The personal computer was supposed to enable truly interactive learning, but often just digitized old-fashioned worksheets and multiple choice tests. When the internet entered schools in the 90s, it cracked things wide open. Suddenly, students could access, remix, and publish information rather than just consume it. Each wave of classroom technology has followed a predictable cycle: extravagant promises, institutional resistance, grudging adaptation, and eventually neglect as the new shiny tool appears. Now, what makes AI fundamentally different is that it doesn't just extend human capabilities like previous tool. It actually mimics cognition itself by speaking, writing, drawing, and answering. So after 25 years in technology development, I've never seen a tool that so profoundly changes some of our assumptions about how humans learning and what skills actually matter in education. See, the difference with AI is that it can be that constant tutor in a little different way than any of these other previous technologies could. Now, according to the 2025 HEPI survey, so this isn't some old survey, this is a newer one, students aren't just using AI for basic tasks. They're leveraging it to explain difficult concepts, summarize dense articles, and generate creative research ideas. Almost 1 in 5 students, 18%, admit to directly including AI-generated text in their submitted work, raising profound questions about authorship and intellectual property. And of the other 82% who didn't admit it, they were probably lying. There's probably a solid 60-70% that are doing this. We'll go with the study that says 18%, but my thoughts are is that number's a lot higher. But when asked why they use AI, students consistently cite 2 primary motivations: saving precious time and improving the quality of their work. So the main factor deterring them from using AI are fears about academic misconduct accusations. i.e., if they get caught. So practical considerations rather than ethical ones. So interestingly, the data shows significant demographic differences in AI adoption. Male students show more enthusiasm than female students using AI, and wealthier students use AI more frequently than their less affluent peers. Now, after a long time in software development, these usage patterns align with what I've seen with every transformative technology. Early adoption by those with privilege and resources, followed by gradual democratization. That's a tough word for me to say, as tools become more accessible. Now, the 2025 Educase AI Landscape Study reveals that a staggering 74% of institutions are focusing their AI strategy specific on academic integrity issues, showing just how profoundly AI is disrupting traditional assessment. Let me restate that into a little different way. 74% of universities are trying to use it to stop people from using AI, and they're using AI to detect AI rather than trying to actually change their instructions. Now, only 36% of students report receiving any institutional support to develop their AI skills, creating a situation where the very tools they'll need in their careers are being learned outside formal education. So a fascinating data point. 40% of students believe AI-generated content would receive good grades in their subject, while only 34% disagree, suggesting AI may already be meeting many academic standards. This creates an urgent imperative for universities to redesign assessments that can't be easily completed using AI. Simply identifying whether work was AI-generated won't be sufficient. So I've consistently seen that trying to block technology innovation is far less effective than thoughtfully integrating it into existing process. The institutions that will thrive aren't the ones fighting AI use, but those redesigning their entire approach to focus on skills that AI can't replicate: critical thinking, ethical judgment, and creative problem solving. Now, if your company needs help implementing AI into some of their agents and some of your workflow, or you just have systems that are disconnected, reach out to us, because here at Startup Hack, our specialty is connecting systems so your company can work like a well-oiled machine. So check out startuphack.com/Spencer, because we'd love to help. All right, the HEPI survey exposes a troubling pattern. AI tools are being used more frequently by students from wealthier backgrounds, creating a new digital divide based on AI proficiency. This divide extends beyond just access to technology. It includes understanding how to effectively prompt AI systems, verify outputs, and integrate AI tools into creative workflows. While 42% of students now report that their professors are well equipped with AI, up from just 18% last year, that still leaves most faculty struggling to guide students. Students from less privileged backgrounds face a double disadvantage. They have less access to cutting-edge AI tools and less guidance from mentors who understand these technologies. Now, throughout my career building technology solutions, I've seen how the initial beneficiaries of new tools are almost always those who already enjoy advantages in the systems. So the most pressing challenge for educational institutions isn't just adopting AI, but ensuring equitable access and training for all students regardless of background or resources. Now, the 2025 Global AI Faculty Survey reveals that while 61% of faculty have used AI in teaching, 88% use it minimally, creating a growing gap between students and faculty adoption rates. The disconnect appears in Educate's study too, which found that 68% of respondents reported students use AI somewhat more or a lot more than faculty. Despite this usage gap, institutional AI strategies emphasize faculty training over student training, creating a situation where those who need guidance most are getting it least. Let me rephrase this. The teachers aren't getting trained on AI enough, and the students are using it more. So then what we have is we have instructors who are trying to instruct with the students learning from a better source. Teachers express legitimate concerns about AI hallucinations, bias, and privacy issues. And I get it. I talk about those with software development. But we can't stick our head in the sands on this, just the same way that I tell my developers all the time, that AI won't replace you as a software developer, but developers who know how to use AI might replace you. So these fears translate into restrictions rather than thoughtful integration in education. And that's where we have a problem. Teachers are sticking their head in the sand and just saying, well, I don't know how to use AI in my classroom, therefore it's banned. This isn't going to work. Decades of technology implementation that I've had have found that meaningful adoption requires both training and compelling vision for how new tools enhance rather than threaten existing practices. The most successful education technology implementations happen when faculty and students collaborate to develop shared understanding and norms around new capabilities. Now, The Educast report highlights how institutions are responding to AI by upskilling or reskilling existing faculty or staff, but only 30% of faculty are getting this, right? The approach recognizes that AI literacy isn't a specialized skill, technical skill, but a fundamental competency everyone in education needs to develop. For faculty, the priority skill identified as best practices for teaching with AI, while staff is boosting productivity. Shows how different roles are adapting to AI contextually appropriate ways. Now, the goal isn't creating AI specialists, but ensuring everyone has sufficient AI literacy to leverage these tools effectively in their specific domains. The most successful organizations that I've seen have been those that democratize new tools rather than siloing them within specialized departments. This moment represents a profound opportunity to reimagine faculty development not as a technical training challenge, but as a fundamental reconception of teaching practices. Now, research from Arts AI indicates that AI-driven personalized learning can enhance student retention rates by up to 30% by tailoring content to individual needs and learning styles. Studies show 54% of students report increased engagement when AI tools are incorporated into learning experiences, suggesting these tools are genuinely enhance educational quality. And my other point to that is the other 46% of students probably didn't really use the AI. The real transformation isn't just an automation, but an adaptation. AI systems adjust content and pace based on the individual performance, identifying specific strengths and struggles. Throughout my decades in software development, I've seen how personalization at scale has transformed every industry it touched, from retail to healthcare to entertainment. Why do you think there are less people going to movie theaters? People love that specialized touch at home. Education has always been the field for most desperate for personalization, but the least able to deliver it cost effectively. AI finally bridges this gap by making individualized learning economically available. The institutions that thrive will use AI not just to automate existing process, but to fundamentally reimagine learning experiences around individual needs rather than standard delivery. Now, again, if your company has systems that are disconnected, reach out, because here at Startup Hack, we love to build custom software solutions, and we can help your company. Check out startuphack.com/Spencer. All right. The HEPI survey shows that 45% of current university students have already used AI while in high school, meaning they're entering high school education with completely different expectations. This creates a profound culture clash between institutions designed around knowledge scarcity and students accustomed to knowledge abundance through AI tools. As one educated noted in the HEPI roundtable discussion, quote, "This is a critical junction, a one-time opportunity to make bold choices about developing our programs to be future-focused. The fundamental shift isn't technological but philosophical, moving from education as a knowledge acquisition to education as a skill development in a world where information is instantly accessible. It's like those teachers who used to tell us in school, well, you're not always going to have a calculator in your pocket. Surprise! I have a calculator in my pocket all the time, every day. And pretty soon, and now I have AI in my pocket all the time, anytime. We're going to have to learn how to educate kids on how to learn and educate people on how to learn. By just sticking our head in the sands and ignoring that these new tools exist is not going to help us. So throughout my career, I've seen that the biggest barriers are rarely technical but cultural, the entrenched practices of mindsets that resist new approaches. This is what kind of gets me all the time when I hear people say, well, I'm not technical. We live in 2025. The time to say I'm not technical is quickly diminishing because everybody's technical. What you can do with one of these nowadays is something nobody could have even dreamed about 10 years ago, or even 10 days ago. The point being is that everybody's technical now. If you're listening to this, you're listening to it on YouTube or on one of the other platforms. That means you're technical. This moment demands we ask fundamental questions. What is the purpose of education when knowledge is instantly accessible? What uniquely human capabilities should we be prioritizing developing? Now, I'm not even going into the cost of education because that's one of the bigger problems that we have here. When knowledge is so immediately accessible, why are we going hundreds of thousands of dollars into debt to gain this knowledge when we now can just fully acknowledge it's a piece of paper? These studies show that we have a big gap in what is being done in education and what's actually coming in the next 10 to 20 years. I think we're going to see a major revolution needing to come in education. We are seeing massive percentages of differences where even students on both sides, the student and the teacher, the professor and the learner, are both using AI to generate content and then just pass it to each other. This is no different than these bots that we hear studies about, where one bot calls another bot and then does something and then behaves some way when it knows they're a bot. This is what we're running into. Institutional interest in AI is growing rapidly, and it's not a surprise. When 92% of students admit to using AI in academics, we need to look at how we're going to change this. So looking ahead, we've witnessed a fundamental shift from knowledge first to skill first education, where the ability to effectively use AI becomes as fundamental as reading or writing. As one participant in the HEPI Roundtable noted, we face a one-time opportunity to reorient education towards developing the unique human capabilities that will complement rather than compete with AI. The institutions that thrive will be those who embrace AI as a collaborator in the education process rather than treating it as an enemy or as a threat to be resisted. Essential AI literacy will include not just technical skills, but ethical judgment, understanding when AI should be used and when it shouldn't, and how to verify and critically evaluate AI outputs, because we know that AI is not always accurate. However, it is very impressive and it is a good instructor. So throughout my career, I've witnessed many technological revolutions, but none that so fundamentally challenges our assumptions about education. The question isn't whether AI will transform education. That's already happening. But whether we will shape that transformation intentionally to create a more effective, equitable, and meaningful learning environment, or whether we let this just happen and the next generation will figure this out. What are your thoughts? We'd really love to have it. The best compliment I can give is when you guys leave a comment down below. Let me know your thoughts. I'm actually genuinely interested in hearing what everybody has to say here. I don't necessarily have the solution, so I'm really interested in what we think the outcome is going to be. What is education going to look like in 10 years? What are your thoughts? Here at Startup Hack, we love to train software developers as well as to build custom software solutions. Reach out because we'd love to help. Check out the links down below, or else you can hit startuphack.com/Spencer, and here's some information about our great services.
Hi, my name is Spencer Thomason, and I'm a fractional CTO. With over a decade of executive leadership and a solid 25 years in software development, I've mastered the art of transforming technology teams and products. So what is a fractional CTO? This is where you can contract someone like myself to come into your organization and get the benefits of a seasoned CTO without having to employ me full time. In today's fast-paced world, efficiency, security, and product scaling aren't just goals, they're necessities. My passion is building impactful products and enhancing organizational efficiencies through technology. From startups to small businesses, my approach leverages lean methodologies to not just meet but exceed your strategic goals. Whether it's through executive mentoring, cloud system architecture, or launching a minimum viable product swiftly, my aim is to make a significant impact right from the start. Recognized in the Arizona startup ecosystem, my journey has been about creating value and fostering innovation. I have led technology for companies like GoDaddy, SRP, and Wells Fargo and turned challenges into milestones. I've taken this learning and launched 7 of my own brands, and now I want to help you. So if you're looking for a fractional CTO who brings a wealth of experience, strategic vision, and a proven track record, let's connect. Together we can build technology that not only drives your business forward, but also makes a difference. Technology leadership redefined to fit your needs. So reach out today.